Hello, how's everybody doing? This video is a dance without music slash American yoga, okay? Pretty soon, as it gets more serious, it has to go into the American yoga, okay? Um, but I'm still gonna say dance without music for now and American yoga, okay? I want to complete that thriller dance before I take it into just American yoga. But for now, they're synonymous, I should say, or they're together, okay? Um, I didn't want to do this one because there's some things that I want to accomplish personally. The reason why I like to accomplish things, because whatever I tell you in this Dance Without Music American Yoga is I like it to be um, in stone, I guess I can say, okay? I like to know 100%, more than 100%, that yes, this is, although I know, but the only thing about it is I've seen so many people do so many things during my life, and it doesn't really work, or it doesn't really, I don't see it benefiting them, and I don't see where it really benefits society. So in this day and age, when they say this is miracle, this is beautiful, this is the best, and it really doesn't really work, or really when I say it doesn't work, I mean it hasn't proved itself, okay? And pretty much everything that I do is proven to me by all the things that I've done during my life, because it's just been, my life has been filled with exercises, learning, progressing, things like that. Okay, so when I say something, and I also back it up, usually I back it up for myself. How do I back it up? I usually back it up with art. Okay, whenever you feel something is right, and this goes for everything, it has to be tested. Okay, I don't have to test certain things because I've been doing this for a long time, and I don't really test. I don't test. What I do instead of testing is I see where it has proven true. And if something has proven true in the things that I do, I know that I'm able to study, how can I say, I'm able to accomplish something in the arts, okay? And because the arts are really deals with perfection. I mean, even if you take acting, or if you take dancing, or if you take singing, all those things, there's no real school for it, okay? I don't care how much money you got, you're not going, you're not, it's not going to help you, okay? I mean, it's great to have money, and I don't say it's not great to have money, because it facilitates a lot of things if you have that talent. But if you're trying to accomplish something and you want to use your money, it's not going to do anything, okay? It's just not. Like I'm saying, they have these music schools that are great and everything, but it works if you have something. So what I'm trying to say is these are perfection arts, not just the arts, but it also could be in science. It could be in pretty much anything, architecture. All of those things are arts. I mean, visual, all over, not just visual, but it's definitely arts. When you see buildings that are standing up, some person artistic can know that this is going to work or that is going to work. Well, that's how I do my. I don't really test. I see if my arts are progressing. If it progresses in some kind of artistic thing that I'm doing. It could also be language. I look at language as understanding language as an art also. So if I'm doing something in dance without music slash American yoga, and I know just because I practice all the time and I know it's going in the right direction and it is right. Well, I'm not going to know exactly until I transfer it, and this comes in a long time experience, into some kind of art that I'm doing. It could be linguistics, which I take I take a different languages all the time. And if I can connect it to something that I'm doing successfully, then I know it's right, okay? Because in the long run, there's so many things that connect together in some kind of way, okay? So that's why, I'm telling you that I had to do this video because the time is right to do this one, but I didn't want to show these things yet because I wanted to wait until I get my approval from something else that I'm doing, okay? But I know more than 100% that these things work because everything that we worked on for the 6 years in Dance Without Music / American Yoga, it's right, you know what I mean? And it's one study that, like I said in all of my videos, this has not been done before successfully, okay? I know that because if it did, certain things would have occurred, okay? And it's dealing with total time. And I explained all those things, and now I'm going to get into this. There's, like I said, I'm breaking away from introducing something and trying to get more people because I did that in my other videos. So now I'm pretty much getting away from that and explaining to those people who have followed the Dance Without Music American Yoga thus far. Excuse me. So we're talking about 6 years. In 6 years, it covers a lot of material. However, the material that's covered in those 6 years, you need a 20 to 25 years, life years I'm talking about, to see certain things. So say if I went through this Dance Without Music American Yoga for every tape that I did, and I explained this before, that's 6 years, a lot of time. There's no way that nobody can go over you or go over your knowledge. Is just the way it works without going through those 6 years. Impossible. They could do it, but like I said, there would be so many holes. And if everybody did that with not going over everything, then I guess that would be good because everybody would have holes, but it wouldn't be consistent, okay? Then I would be the only person that wouldn't have holes. And when I mean by holes, I mean like really big gaps in knowledge, okay? Really big gaps. I wanted to do something for fun, but I don't want to say that, but I'm gonna develop that later on. Okay, so now the 6 years I was talking about, very important. And like I said, the people who followed along, and you don't even have to know how to do anything, just as long as you understand those 6 years, okay? Because when you're doing the 6 years, okay, the 6 years is up here, and then you most likely will be like from here, it would be like this, okay? So this is like your knowledge of what's going on, But you need this knowledge so that you can fulfill the physical aspect of it. So I'm here with the knowledge, and my physical aspect from listening and seeing everything, it has to be like I'm moving it like this, okay? So it has to be no more than this. It's going to be no more than this, the physical aspect of it. But your knowledge, but you need the knowledge up to here because there's so many things that happen. Your knowledge is going to take you up to the knowledge. knowledge, okay, up to there, okay? That's what your knowledge is going to do. It's going to take you there, because without the knowledge, there's so many, because like I said before, it only works one way. But once you have it, you know all the ways. It's like going into a room, okay? Not the rooms that I talked about in Dance Out Music, but like once you're in the room, once you're in a room, you can do all the things in the room. You just know it. It's just know it. It's just like, so the knowledge gets you into these rooms that you have to accomplish. The rooms are like levels, okay? But the reason why it's not a level is because in levels, like for instance, like language level, you have a level up here, level up here, level up here. And in the language levels, you can communicate with the different, say, 1 level, 2 level, 3 level. Well, if you're down in the beginning level, you can still communicate with intermediate and advanced level. But this is different because you're dealing with yourself actually. And we're at no stage to where you can relate to where it's a language and I can speak to others in this dance without music, because you have to make it to a room, okay? So what I'm trying to say is, like, if you're here, it's a room, but it's not a level, because there's nothing else that you can, there's no other communication. It's just that room for yourself, okay? So you're up here and you reach a room, and you know when you reach the rooms, okay? But you know the knowledge. The knowledge is going to tell you you're in a room, okay? And you have to go to another room. And the next room, you know everything in that first room. You don't really have to know everything in the first room. Like, you get into a first room, and you like that room, and you learn all the things in that room. You don't have to learn everything in that room, and most likely you won't. Because when you get to the next room, your first room that you were in is trivial. It's so trivial that your first room means nothing whatsoever, okay? And that's the difference in the fact that it's self-contained for now, unless you meet other people and know other people, but you're nowhere near that. I mean, that's in time, okay? So now I'm going to do the 3 lessons that I have, and it's going to be on, when I came in the door, because I did some things, and I just got in, I came across another, this is going to be, I guess call it definition, but you're going to see that now, at this point, after 6 years, the definitions are going to change into, I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but I forgot, I'm going to come up with a term. But, okay, so the 3 things that we're going to study, I hope I can keep them in my mind. The one new one that I just did, I'm doing that first, even though I've been thinking about the other ones for like 2 months now. It's going to be brace. The other one is traction, and the other one is resistance. Now, this is where, if you're new, it's from 6 years of videos of just these Dance Without Music videos. Started with Dance Without Music, and if you follow everything, you'll see how the Dance Without Music has elevated, or not evolutionized, or whatever itself, or whatever you want to say it, into American yoga. And I also use the term because everybody's familiar with yoga, and I took it and made it American Yoga by Pierre Dur. Okay, now, those 3 terms. So you have brace, which I just came up with. Then you have traction, and you have resistance, okay? Now, those are 3 terms. It can also be situated as far as the power is concerned. But I don't want to say it's a power. These are, how can I call them? I can't call them powers because, like I said, the powers, and I expressed what the powers were. And there's still powers that I can come up with that I haven't realized. But you know, like balance, we have weight, all those things. But these are, I don't know how to say, it's, can I say language? Can I call them language? I can call them aspects. Okay, let me for now call it aspects, okay, because this is a different thing. And the aspects, I'm not going to use a definition, but I'll say definition, okay? Because what I'm trying to say is it doesn't consist of words, but it consists of your realizing something. There's one point that I made a long time ago, and I'm really going to make it now. When you're referring to something that you're doing when you're practicing or whatever, the most important words that you relate to yourself is like this, that, and with, okay? Because you don't have to use definitions at this point because it's there, okay? It's like, okay, so now the first one, aspect, the first aspect. Most likely, I'm not going to say a definition, but you're going to know why I'm not going to say a definition because it goes right to it. It's very powerful. Now, I'm going to say the first one that I made a realization of is traction, okay? How do I get traction? The aspect of traction. Aspect sounds very good. And there's, if you follow everything, you understand what I'm doing when I come up with vocabulary or terms. There's a way about it. And those who have followed these videos in this class, then they understand. Okay, so now traction. How did I find traction? I found traction because it was like cold. Everywhere it was like really cold. And they had a lot of ice, and I was walking on ice like everybody else, you know, and I found traction. Of course, I knew about it. Everything in this course is things that you know about, but it's not realized by your physical self, you know what I mean? It's not manipulated into something that you can use. I mean, like, for instance, traction I'm talking about. When I'm walking on ice, and you will find it. And the way to find it is not just to say, okay, traction. I know what traction is. It's nothing like that, okay? Because your body doesn't understand what traction is. I mean, you understand it, but your body doesn't understand what traction is, okay? So, if you understand what I'm talking about. So, because like I said, your body totally works off of subconscious mind, okay? The only time and I'm doing this from review, the only time you don't have subconscious is when you know something, okay? If you're a skater, ice skater, you know that thing. You don't do those things subconsciously. There's things that you do subconscious, but most likely, most of the things you're not doing it subconsciously. I know it's beautiful and it's very, very powerful to know that like very ice skaters that really do something, they're not doing it from subconscious. One thing that they probably don't realize. And one of the things I saw in ice skating that was really, really neat is, I forgot her name, Tanya Harding, okay? We're not talking about any of their politics, but she did a, they call it an axel, and I don't know all the terms. The only time I get to know a term is when somebody is famous and they do something. And she did that thing, and I think they call it triple axel. She maybe not realized it, and that probably hurt her not being able to do it again. But when she did it, she did not, from my viewpoint, she did not do it subconsciously. I mean, she did it consciously. And a lot of times when you do things consciously and then you want to do them again, you try and do it subconsciously, which it doesn't work. Until you realize that you're not doing it subconsciously, but you're doing it consciously, then that's where the power is. And that's probably why she couldn't do it again, because do it so frequently. It's because at that point when she did it, she was doing it because she knew what she was doing. Okay? She was well aware of it. Okay, so now I wanted to get into the reason why I went there is because I wanted to tell you, yes, traction. Everybody knows traction. But I know that I'm speaking of an aspect that you do not understand what I'm talking about when you say everybody knows traction. If you say, of course, I know what traction is, well, then that's not it. You missed the whole point. You have to. A lot of people who are listening, who went through all the tapes, they know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I'm on the ice, and the moment I go into traction, okay, the moment that I realize traction, and it's nanoseconds, okay, that's the aspect, okay. And the thing about it is you can't really continually traction, because it's something new to your mind. So you can't go on ice and try and walk on ice and then understand all the traction. No, it doesn't work like that. The only thing it is a definition. And when I say definition, like I told you, it's not really a definition, but that's the only word I got for it for now. So what I'm saying, it goes past the definition. It is exact, okay? So like I said, you're walking, you come to ice, and you're walking, and that's when you take that moment that you feel traction, your body is going to record that traction, okay? So it doesn't work like, okay, well, this is traction, that's traction, that's traction, that's traction. No, it doesn't do that. It's just that one point in traction, and that's the definition. And your mind goes traction, and that's it. It doesn't need it again. It doesn't need it to go, oh, let me keep being on ice, and then I get traction. No. The second time you do it, it just knows it's traction, and that's it. Because it's another world. That means that you need some other things to use traction with the powers that we learned. Okay? So just end it there. And now the other one is the same. It's called, the other one is resistance. Okay? That's the other aspect. I'm going to tell you a definition, which I'm saying is not really a definition, just it's the point, okay? And, but that's the only word I can use is definition. The reason why it's not a definition, because I'm not explaining to you this. I'm not explaining to you all of that. So it's over a definition. It's more powerful than a definition. And the next one is I think did I just say it, or resistance. Okay, resistance. I wanted to use one, and I'm glad it took me a long time to do this tape, because just these 3 points took me maybe 3 months for me to actually do this video, because I have to make sure, okay? And then I didn't want to do it because I'm in a cycle to where I'm doing something, you know? So anyway, so then it was resistance, and I had to figure out the best way to explain to you resistance, or definition, which is not really a definition. It goes right to the point, and maybe I'll find a word for it, and or make up a word for it. Most of the time we make up words to assist. I make up words to assist me in explaining these things. So resistance, the best way I could call resistance is, how can I say, is standing, okay? And that one's gonna be hard. I had another one. I gotta put that one as the major one, standing, because when you stand, you don't fall. So you're resisting falling. Okay, you're resisting tumbling over. So I guess that would be the best, not the best term for the aspect of the definition, which is not a definition, it goes right to the point of resistance. Because like I'm here and I'm resisting my ability, I don't know, I can't say ability to fall, but my resistance, I'm resisting it, okay? And a lot of people may think, well, this is so much and this is to always think about these things, but it's not like that. It's like, how can I say, when I was really young, and I had the story before, I was no more than 3 or 4, and my brothers took me to, I guess what they call DMV, drivers to get their license. I don't know, it's called different things, different places. And they went to get their driver's license, and I was thinking all the time, and I would remember we were in like a small mall, and there was a table where they picked up their, back time is totally different from now. There was no computers or anything. Everything was like, you had to do this and you had to do that. And they picked up the paper to fill out the information for their license. And I remember looking at the paper and it said, like, where do you live? Just the form. And I didn't know anything about the form. And I was saying, how am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to get my apartment? I don't know why I thought that. I mean, am I going to be able to actually do these things? I was no more than 3 or 4. And I was looking at this application and it blew my mind, okay? And I was wondering if I would be able to, do these things. Now I got to figure out why in the world I went there, what I was talking about. Okay, so anyway, I was saying about, then I'll find out why, and I'll tell you about the connection of why I gave you that experience. So anyway, we were on standing, okay? I was talking about standing and how it's resistance, okay? And, I know what I wanted to say. I wanted to say that it seems like it's impossible to understand all these things and be happy and work them out. But it's like I said, when I was very young, I had those thoughts of not being able to do things. And how in the world am I going to do this? And how in the world am I going to do that? That's how I thought. But as you can see, it was something that I had to develop. I had to do this, I had to do that, I had to learn this, I had to learn, I had to go to school, I had to do this. And I never realized that. So if you're answering that question, you have to go through the from the beginning. I'm sorry, I benefit from it. Yes, I do. If 100 million people, no, not 100 million. If 100,000 people have to start from the beginning, Dance Without Music, and you have to do that to understand. Yes, I'll be happy and that'd be really help me out, you know what I mean? But I put in all the work. I did all this information. I continually, I say about 20 hours, at least, no less than 15 hours a day. Every day, doing something. I got a message on here. I don't know what it is. But anyway, at least 15 hours a day, okay? So anyway, what I'm trying to say is once you get there, you'll understand it would be just so beautiful. Some things I learned and I'm really in a bad way. Because I have to do this, I have to do that, and I'm doing this and I'm having this problem and that problem. And then I'll learn something and it's like, wow, that is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. So you're dealing with actual human physics and it is beautiful. In actuality, it's like a drug, okay? And you'll see it. If you keep going up, you'll see how, I'm sorry for saying drugs. I know it's terrible to say drugs, but it's a euphoria. That's the only way I can really. Well, it could be a drug because drugs are not really bad. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, like when there's drugs, when you're sick and you need a drug to make you feel better, prescription or whatever, I mean, it's a euphoria. It's something really beautiful. So I can say it's like a drug, and it is like a drug, but it's not anything. It's like a euphoria to understand certain things. So it's not at all cumbersome or anything if you do the things the right way, okay? So now we're on standing. Like I said, I'm standing and I'm resisting. It is so fine, so minute amount of information. That's another thing too. So if you got your brain or your thinking high wired and you want to go through what I'm talking about, that's not going to work either, because it's a different aspect of thinking. It's a different, and you learn that also going through these 6 years. And yes, it will take you 6 years. If I took 6 years to do the videos, it better take you 6 years, okay? Unless you want to end up into a loony bin or something like that. Little by little. If it takes you 10 years to go through the videos, that's even greater, because you'll have it down south. You won't have any holes. The last video I had, I subscribe to YouTubers that I really like, okay? And that's one thing I don't understand. People can have so many views and stuff like that, but then when you look at, do they look at other people? Do they subscribe to other channels? And you see no? Okay, well, I don't think that's a good foundation. But one of the last people that I subscribed to was this lady. She was heavy set, you know, and she wanted to lose weight or whatever, and she did these videos. Excuse me. And I thought it was so beautiful. You know why? Because she wasn't looking for an easy way out, okay? She showed her video of herself working out, and she's still like big and fat, okay? And there's nothing wrong with what I'm saying, big and fat, because I was big and fat, okay? I was big and fat. I mean, nobody joked around with it or anything, but I was big and fat. And a big and fat person can say that they're big and fat. And like I said, one experience that I had is I used to clean apartments when I was in New York. And I would eat these McDonald's hamburgers. And hamburgers, I could eat like 2 hamburgers, 2 French fries, all of this. But I never liked looking in the mirror at all. And I told this experience before, and I looked in the mirror, and it was like, wow, I was 200. Was I 200 pounds? Yeah, I think I was 200 and something. I never reached 200 pounds, and my normal weight is 160. 165 is the most. Okay, and I didn't see it. I did not see. I just went past the mirror. I remember the day. And I looked in that mirror, and it was like, wow. I mean, like, I can't do this. And just the way I am, I don't think it's good that everybody else does it. But it's just the type of person that I was. I had to leave the state, okay, with no money. It's just me. It was so tragic for me, because I'm a compulsive. I'm used to be a compulsive eater. It's not something that, not being a compulsive eater is not something that affects me. You know what I mean? Like, what I'm saying is that, which I'm glad about, maybe it's worse when you're addicted. But I wasn't addicted to food. I'm just a compulsive eater, you know? Like, if I eat a hamburger, this is in the past. If I eat a hamburger I wanted to eat another hamburger. I mean, I didn't go overboard by eating 3 because, you know, it was just a certain point. But I was still a compulsive eater. And I knew, because of my personality, I had to leave. And I left the state, okay? Not forever, but I love the state. I'm not going to say where I went. But anyway, I went somewhere and I didn't have I had money, but I knew that I had to get a job. And I worked and I didn't eat because I didn't have any money or that much money. And I lost the weight. And I worked and I lost the weight. It was just the only way I knew that I could do it. There was no way in the world no other way to do that for me, okay? But I don't suggest that. It would have been good for me to do it little by little. But it shocked me because I never looked in the mirror. It was like going from 160 to 200 in one day. Because I never looked at myself. I would eat, and my beautiful friends, would never say anything. They didn't say like, they never said that. So anyway, when I came back to New York City, and I'm talking about city, I had my weight back. And I went to work, and I did it, and I did this, and I did that. So that's the story. Anyway, I liked this girl's video because she showed me that she was really serious about it, and she didn't want to do it in a week or a day or in a month, which is crazy to me, okay? And I saw her video, and I saw like 2 of them, and I will continually watch her videos because the way that she's doing it, okay? So anyway, we did over that, and I did that. I'm talking to you about that to tell you that that's what it takes. It takes the minute information that I'm giving you about this resistance. You're not going to understand it. Like traction was easy, and your mind would take that traction. But as far as standing, you won't be able to inhale, or it's almost like you inhale the information because it's so minute, okay? And it's like if I'm standing, your first thing you're going to think is you're going to start thinking, and you're going to start thinking yourself standing, which that's not it. It has nothing to do with that. But I like resisting. I can feel my resistance, okay? I know my resistance is here. I could put resistance up here, okay? Okay? And I could put a resistance up here, but now my resistance up here. So I wanted to leave that for resistance. I wanted to show you another resistance, which is very easy to obtain, but I went against that one because it was very easy, but then it would be harder for you to see or know how important it is, the resistance when you're standing. So I put that down because I know that people would do the experiment and they go, okay, that's resistance, and they'll throw it away. But if I say it's standing, you can't find it, and you can't find that aspect, okay, in your mind. I mean, you're standing, and you could be standing 24 hours a day, and you will not see the aspect of resistance when you stand, okay? You won't see it. You won't see it. Not now. I mean, like I said, you have to go over everything, okay? The other one, you'll see it automatically, most likely. Because, okay, like for instance, you see the traction, and you'll see it, but as soon as I'm telling you, as soon as you get on the ice and you get that traction, that's it. That's it. It's going to be a definition. It's more than a definition. Your mind is going to take it. It's going to say, okay, that's traction. And that's it. You're going to try and do things with traction, but that's it. It's just going to say, I got it. Now, what do we do with it? We'll work on that later on. Right now, you just need that aspect. So I'm going to call these aspects now. So the one aspect I was telling you was traction. The next aspect is resistance, okay? And the other one, I'm going to call it brace, okay? What would we call brace? Okay, I would call brace this. Have you ever, okay, so let's say, I got it from coming home, I wear big boots. And to take off my boots and, I have to do all this. I can't just like take boots off, which I want to get to the point where I can just take my boots off while standing, okay? And I want to tell you, resistance is not balance, okay? So like I was just doing that and I was like saying, they're going to think this is resistance because I don't want to fall. That's not resistance. So just listen to what I told you when I say about resistance. So now we're on brace, and this is the last one. So if I go like this, okay, like I go like this to do something, that would be brace, okay? And like as soon as you do that brace, your mind is going to say that's brace, and that's it. There's nothing that you're going to be able to do with it yet, okay? Like I told you what brace is, like I'm bracing, this is be a brace, okay? And I use the brace, and that's it. And that's the aspect. So what I'm saying is you obtain the aspect as soon as that point, and that's it. You can't do anything with it right now, but we will as time goes on with everything else we're doing in this dance without music, yoga, American yoga by Pierre Dur. So now you can see how the American yoga by Pierre Dur is totally the opposite of all those yogas where you just release your mind and you sit there and just do this and do that, and things that you can't do. With American yoga, everything that you do in the American yoga class by Pierre Dur, you're going to use, okay? And like I said, a lot of things that you learn here, you can utilize them, and you can say, okay, I know now. But then you'll end up with so many holes. And you'll have so many holes that those 4 people, I'm almost sure it's like 4 people, that's all I can see, 4 people who really know this dance without music, okay? They've seen it. They see it working for them, okay? Because it is so difficult. I mean, so difficult. I'm not going to say it's so difficult, but I'm going to say, because the difficulty is actually going from one thing to the next. That's the easiest thing is the most difficult, okay? And I went through it, and like I said before, I didn't know that I was going to do it. I thought I was going to relate the information to you through my experience, because I'm old, and I was like, okay, well, the only thing I want to do is tell these people what I've learned in life, and that's it, okay? But then it wouldn't take that, because I know how things work, and it won't do that. The only way I could do it, especially nowadays, is by actually doing those things, doing the things that I know work. And why? It's because of the body, okay? And I have to show you physically how to do things instead of just telling you. I mean, the reason why it wouldn't work the other way, because nobody would believe you, especially nowadays in this time and era. So many people tell you this, so many people tell you that, and so many people say, people can take certain things that they learn in this station, and they could say, okay, well, I learned this, and I'm going to use it to make money, or I'm going to use it to do this. But that's not going to work either. But that means you're going to take your time and do one aspect when there's aspects coming at you left and right here, okay? Like I just told you an aspect, okay? And if you took some of the information and for yourself, and it was so great and it was so beautiful, but the thing about it is you stopped, you got off the train, okay? But this train ride is a long one, and you can get off for a little while, but you have to come back on the station. You have to come back on where you dropped off at. So, I mean, like, you have to come back where you left the train, okay? You can't, there's no other way to get to another point and then come back on the train. You know, unless you start back over again, but that's just the way it works. And what do we call that? We call that time, mother time. There's nothing that you can do about her, because she is a bitch. Mother time. She doesn't turn or do anything for anybody, okay? You either learn how to deal with it and learn how to do it, and then you conquer Mother Time. But if you don't, then that's just the way it is. She'll get you. She'll get you. I wanted to talk about, and the last experience I want to show you is like a forest. I mean, the world is so much, yes, and I believe in God, and I know how beautiful He is and everything, but the world is not beautiful like God is. I mean, He created it and everything, but you can't do anything with it. You know what I mean? It's all danger. It's all. Go to a forest and see how beautiful a forest is. But as soon as you walk into it, there's nothing you can do without knowledge. I mean, there's nothing you could do. Nothing. You could just sit back away from the forest and say, this is beautiful. That's the only thing. That's how life is. That's how it's made, okay? It's just that there's so much beauty. Even the ocean, you go to the beautiful beach and everything. But if you don't know something, there's no way to enjoy it, okay? That's life. It has, I can say it has nothing to do, I mean, He created this, but it has nothing to do with life. It has nothing to do with beauty. It has nothing to, how can I say? It has nothing to do with life. I mean, all these beautiful things have nothing to do with life. It's something totally different, okay? It's just danger. It's almost as if God made all these things, these dangerous things, into beauty. I mean, to where it looks beautiful, but forget it. It's not. You have to learn Dance Without Music, and I'm plugging it. You have to learn Dance Without Music, American Yoga by Pierre Dur. Okay, and that's the last part of my lesson that I have for now. I don't know when I'm going to do another Dance Without Music American Yoga. I don't know, because I'm doing some things that I want to solidify. So that'll be it for this 6 years. Dance Without Music. This is the title. 6 years. The 6th year. Dance Without Music. American Yoga by Pierre Dur. And Traction. Yeah, did I say Traction? Traction. Resistance and brace. Okay, those are aspects. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye-bye.